1953, Iran, a democratically elected leader overthrown in a coup organized.
In 1953, a man was elected as the Prime Minister of Iran, democratically, by his own people. His name was Mohammad Mossadegh.
He had one simple idea. The oil under Iranian soil belongs to the Iranian people, so he nationalized Iran's oil industry, took it back from the British. Within a year, he was overthrown in a coup. The CIA organized it. They paid Iranian generals, they hired street mobs, they printed fake newspapers, they destabilized an entire government. In 2013, the CIA officially admitted it. 60 years later, the truth was finally confirmed. Friends, this wasn't an isolated incident. This was a Tuesday for the United States of America. After World War II, the entire world was destroyed. Europe was in ruins, Japan was bombed. Only one country came out stronger, America.
In 1944, 44 nations gathered in Bretton Woods, and there, they made a decision that would change the world forever. The US dollar would be the world's reserve currency.
In 1971, President Nixon quietly removed the dollar's link to gold, just like that. The dollar was no longer backed by anything physical. It was backed by trust, by America's word, and the world had no choice but to accept it, because by then 70% of global trade was already happening in dollars. This is called dollar dominance, and it gives America a power that no other country on earth has. Think about it this way. India has to actually earn dollars. We export software, textiles, pharmaceuticals. We work hard, we produce, then we get dollars. America just prints them. When America needs money, the Federal Reserve simply prints more dollars, and the whole world absorbs the cost. When America prints too many dollars, inflation spreads globally. Poor countries suffer, but America keeps spending. This is called the exorbitant privilege. A French finance minister coined this term in the 1960s. He was angry because France was watching America run unlimited deficits. America has more than 800 military bases in over 80 countries around the world. Let that number sit for a moment. 800 bases. China has 3. Russia has around 15. Every other country on Earth combined has fewer foreign military bases than the United States alone. These bases are not just for protection, they are a message, a permanent, concrete, armed message that says, America is here, America is watching. These bases follow oil, they follow trade routes, they follow money. This is not a coincidence, this is a strategy. When a country starts making decisions that America doesn't like, suddenly there is a very well-armed American base a few hundred kilometers away. You don't need to say anything, the base says it for you. Let me give you a list, just a partial list. Countries where the United States has directly interfered since World War II: Iran 1953, Guatemala 1954, Congo 1960, Brazil 1964, Chile 1973. This is not a conspiracy theory. These are documented, admitted, written about in declassified CIA files and academic journals. The pattern is always the same. Step 1. Find a leader who is too independent, too nationalist, too focused on his own country's resources. Step 2. Fund the opposition, sponsor protests, run propaganda through local media that America quietly finances. Step 3. If needed, support a military coup, provide weapons, training, money, and diplomatic cover. Step 4. Install a friendly government, sign favorable trade agreements, open the country's resources to American corporations. Step 5. Call it the spread of democracy. In 1970, Salvador Allende was democratically elected as Chile's president. He wanted to nationalize copper mines owned by American companies. The corporations panicked. They went to Washington. Kissinger famously said, "I don't see why we need to stand by and watch a country go communist due to the irresponsibility of its own people," his own people, who had voted democratically. On September 11, 1973, the Chilean military, backed by the CYA, bombed their own presidential palace. Allende died inside. A brutal dictator named Augusto Pinochet took power. Under Pinochet, thousands of Chileans were tortured and killed, disappeared, and America looked the other way. Because Pinochet kept the copper mines open for American companies. This is how it works. Democracy ends, profits continue. But what if a country is too big to invade, too nuclear to threaten militarily? Then America uses sanctions. Sanctions sound polite, like an economic slap, but in reality they can be devastating. Being sanctioned means being cut off from the global economy entirely. America sanctioned Iran so severely that Iran couldn't even sell its own oil. A country sitting on some of the world's largest oil reserves couldn't pay its hospitals. America sanctioned Cuba for over 60 years because in 1959 Fidel Castro nationalized American sugar plantations. The people of Cuba decided their land belonged to them. America never forgave them. The UN has repeatedly voted that America's Cuba sanctions are illegal. In 2023, 187 countries voted against the sanctions. Only America and Israel voted in favor, 187 to 2. America ignored it. Because America controls the UN Security Council, any resolution that threatens American interests gets vetoed. This is the rules-based international order, rules written by America, enforced selectively. Now let's talk about the most invisible form of control, the one that doesn't need guns or sanctions, soft power. Hollywood, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Nike, Harvard, Facebook, Google. These are not just companies. They are delivery systems for American values, American aesthetics, American worldview. When a child in Nigeria grows up watching Marvel movies, he absorbs something. The idea that America is the hero, that American soldiers saved the world. When a student in India dreams of going to MIT or Harvard, he absorbs something. The idea that the highest form of success is validated by American institutions. This is not accidental. The U.S. State Department has historically coordinated with Hollywood studios. During the Cold War, the CIA secretly funded cultural programs, art exhibitions, literary magazines. Anything that spread the idea that Western liberal culture was superior, it was all designed to win hearts and minds. When America wants to build a narrative about a country, that Venezuela is a dictatorship or that Iran is evil, that narrative runs through CNN, the New York Times, Hollywood scripts, and think tanks funded by defense contractors. By the time it reaches you on your phone in India, it feels like objective truth. It feels like common sense, but it was manufactured. And here's the sharpest edge of soft power. It makes you want to be American. It makes you admire the system that controls you. That is the most complete form of control that exists. Some have tried to fight back. Muammar Gaddafi in Libya tried to create a gold-backed African currency, a Pan-African dinar that would replace the dollar for oil trade across Africa. France and America intervened militarily in 2011 under the cover of protecting civilians. Gaddafi was killed. The African currency project died with him. Saddam Hussein started selling oil in euros instead of dollars in 2000. 3 years later, America invaded Iraq. The oil went back to being sold in dollars immediately after the invasion. Notice the pattern. Any country that directly threatens dollar dominance faces regime change or destruction. This is not a coincidence. Venezuela sits on the world's largest proven oil reserves. When Chavez started using oil revenues to fund free healthcare and education, America began funding opposition groups, running media campaigns, attempting coups. The Venezuelan economy collapsed, millions fled the country, and Western media reported it as proof that socialism doesn't work. They didn't mention the sanctions. Friends, here's where we are today. For the first time since World War II, American dominance is being seriously challenged, not by a small country, by China. China has built the Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure project spanning more than 140 countries. Roads, ports, railways, fiber optic cables. China is building physical connections across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, bypassing America entirely. China and Russia are conducting more and more trade in their own currencies, not dollars. The BRICS nations have openly discussed creating an alternative reserve currency. Saudi Arabia, America's oldest Middle Eastern ally, has started accepting yuan for oil payments. This is the nightmare scenario for American dominance. If the dollar loses its reserve currency status, America loses its most powerful weapon. It can no longer print money and export the cost to the world. This is why America is so aggressive about China right now. The trade wars, the chip bans, the military buildup in the Pacific. This isn't about human rights or democracy. It is about who controls the global financial system for the next 100 years. And India sits right in the middle of this. America is aggressively courting India as a counterbalance to China. Military agreements, technology transfers, diplomatic flattery.